Hey guys, this is Kristen from Schroeder Stars. Today we're going to be looking at text effects for your Teachers Pay Teachers cover. This is one of my products for my Sound Out Blends and Sounds product. I really like the way this looks, so I'm going to teach you how to do all of the text effects that you see here. We are not going to discuss the background, the frame, or the images down below, so just text today. Alright, we are going to go over how to fill your text, how to add text outlines, and text effects, which includes adding a glow, adding a shadow, adding reflections, and also making transformations to your text. So let's get started. First things first, I went ahead and made a blank slide. This is at 8.5 by 11. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of these text boxes because I want a clean slate. First thing we're going to do is we need a text box. So we're going to go to Insert and Text Box. I always like to start over in No Man's Land. When I put it on the actual page, I sometimes click the wrong thing and then I end up moving something, so I always start off in No Man's Land. The first thing we're going to take a look at is how to add a glow to our text, because it's really simple and it adds a lot of depth to your cover. So we're going to start with the word blends, and we're going to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to click the box, go up to the A, and with the little up arrow, and we're going to make this really big so you guys can see it in action. We're going to move it a little bit. Okay, there we go. So here it's, well, it's boring. So I want to go ahead and change the font. I have my favorite font person ever is Jen Jones. She is absolutely amazing from Hello Fonts, so I'm going to be using her fonts today. And you can download and purchase her fonts. You can purchase a commercial use license so that you can use all of her fonts in your products. I don't know the price of it right now, but she updates it, and so whenever she updates it, you get all those updates for free, which is pretty cool. So definitely make sure that your fonts are for commercial use. Otherwise, you can't include them in your products. You can't sell them. You just can't use them in your products. So make sure wherever you get your fonts from that they're for commercial use. Alright, so this is her Honeycrisp font. It's beautiful. And it looks good right now, but I want to add that purple glow that I see, because I think that stands out a lot. So what I'm going to do is you can choose to either highlight the text or you can click the box. Either way, and see how the box turned to a solid line. That's how you know you've got it. Usually I click the box because if you highlight and you leave, let's say I did that and I left the S off, these letters would get my effect, but that poor little S wouldn't, and then you'd have to redo it all. And if you forgot exactly what color you used, or, you know, it's a hassle. So go ahead and click the box, and then I'm going to go up to the Format button up here, and we get lots of different options. Now it's important to note that you want the options on the right. You want the text ones. These options are on the left are for the actual box that your text sits in. So if I went over here and I can change the shape fill, which affects the square or the rectangle that my words are in, and I don't want to do that. So we're going to go over to the text effects. So if I wanted to, I could actually change the fill of my text to be different. And so you can choose your own color, you can choose one of the theme colors that they have already set, but for this example I'm just going to leave it as black. So then you can, we're going to talk about text outline in a minute, but right now I want to talk about the text effects, which is this little A that kind of is glowing on its own. And when you click that, you get a lot of different options. The first one is to add a shadow to your text. So you can see right when I rolled over it with my mouse, it added a shadow to my text. Now I really think that looks pretty good. I love adding a shadow to my text. It makes it, you know, feel like it's coming off the page, and it makes it stand out from the rest. So you can choose any of these. I like to, if I pick one, let's say I picked this one, I want to continue that trend throughout my cover, because if I have this one going this way and then this one going this way, it doesn't look right. So pick one and stick with it for your cover. You can also do inner shadows, and these aren't going to show up for us because our text is black, but you can play around with these as well. And then on the bottom, there's perspective, so you can really make your text jump off the page if you want to. Word of caution, make sure that when you use these text effects that they don't overwhelm your message, because for instance this, it makes it a little difficult to see what my word is because it's kind of behind it, and you know, everything's kind of overlapping, and so I don't want to use that one. Alright, next one is reflections, and this is the same word of caution. When you use a reflection, they look really cool, and they might work for some products, but you just want to make sure that it doesn't overwhelm your product and make it difficult to read. Alright, so the next one, this is where I wanted to be, is the glow. When you click on the glow, you'll get 6 different color options if you go across, and if you go up and down, you'll notice that the glow gets thicker the lower I go. This one, it actually looks like I've spray painted behind the letters, which is pretty cool, but it's a little thick for my taste. So for my initial example, I had a purple color. Now, if you don't like, say you want a yellow, but this neon yellow is just kind of too much, you can actually choose your own color. So you pick the size that you want, and then you can pick your own color. And so I've got that size, and now as I choose these different colors, it'll change it automatically for me. So there we go. Now for this, it's a little, I think I want my glow to be a little bit thicker so you guys can really see it. That's a little better because this is just so big. But there you have it. We've added a glow to our text. Now what's cool is, say you add this purple glow and you're like, man, that black it doesn't look good with the purple. You can go back to your text fill and you can change it to whatever color you want. And you can kind of play around with it and see what stands out and what looks good. However, be careful that you don't lose your message when you're playing around with your text. When I make it, the colors are too close together, that looks so blurry right now, I can barely read it. And so then kind of this orange is kind of hard on the eyes, it's hard to read. So you just want to make sure that you don't lose your message in your text effects. So I'm going to go ahead and leave it as black. And so there you have it. We've made the first part of my Sound Out cover. What I did here was I actually used 3 different text boxes to create this effect, kind of how they're stepping down. So this is one font, and then I changed the font in the middle and left off the shadow and the glow. And then I went ahead and did the same font as my blends for this and added that same purple glow. So that's how these 3 were made. Let's go ahead and take a look at this out. I'm actually going to copy him, and we're going to paste him down here so that we can see what our end product is going to be. I'm actually going to make this guy a little smaller. Whoop, because we're done with him for now. Alright, so this out has a lot going on. So first, I want to create a new text box. So we're going to insert, put my text box out in no man's land. And for this, I actually used all capital letters. And depending on the font that you use, it really makes a difference whether or not you use all caps or not. Some fonts only offer capital letters when you use them. So just play around with it and see what you come up with. So if I remember, this is geometric. So this is not a Hello font, but it's one that I found, and I like it, and it's for commercial use. When I download fonts to my computer, I make sure that they're for commercial use only, because I don't want to accidentally use a personal use only font and then get in trouble later. So as you can see right now, I actually made a mistake. I highlighted my text and I left off my exclamation point when I changed it. So you can, again, highlight everything or click the box and you won't have to worry about it. So luckily, PowerPoint leaves it up here, so I can use it again. There we go. Alright, so I made it pretty big. And for this, we're going to start in the middle and work our way out. So to start the very middle of my out, I need to change the color. So again, my box is clicked and up to format. If you double click it, it automatically goes to format. and I'm going to fill it. Now for this, I used this really pretty pink, but I don't remember what color it was exactly. So you can choose your own, and this one's not going to quite be it, but it'll be close enough. Ooh, that's really bright. Alright, so there, that's quick and easy. I already changed that. But now we're going to add an outline to this text because, you know, the pink is nice, but I want it to look like that. So next up on the format, we're going to use a text outline. And here you can use any color that you want, but if you notice, it's not very thick. So I'm going to click the purple because that's the color I want, but I want it to be thicker because that outline, I can barely even tell that it's outlined. So in order to do that, you're going to go down to the weight, and as I scroll down, thicker, 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 ooh, there we go. So 6 point, I'm going to use 6 point for this because that text is huge, but in your product you probably don't want to go that high. Alright, so there I've got the pink fill, and now I've got a purple outline. And now all we have to do is add this blue. And if you'll remember from our blends tutorial, all we have to do is add a glow. So my box is still clicked, haven't changed that. We're going to go up to text effects and down to glow. And for this, we used a blue. Now I want it to be kind of thick because again, I've got a really big word. And so there's that blue. You know, I really kind of don't like the blue that they've given me. So I'm going to choose, after I've chosen the size that I want, I'm going to choose a different blue. And man, my blues aren't too good today. Let's see more colors. We'll try and get a better blue. Let's get that one. Ooh. Now, as much as I like that, it kind of is hard to read again. And so, as I said, you don't want to lose your message when you're playing with text effects. So I'm going to tone that down a little bit. Whoop. Now, when you go back to set the size, you're going to lose your color. So you really just have to play around with it and figure out what works best for your needs. I'm actually going to go with a darker blue than what I had originally thought. We'll go with that darker blue because now I can still see, and it just looks pretty cool. So there you have it. Now we've got some text that really stands out, as our word implies, and you can move it around, do whatever you want with it, and place it on your product. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of my old one, and we're going to put our new one up here because we're going to be using this one again in just a minute, and make it a little smaller. Alright, now we're going to make this sound, and the sound, it's kind of hard to notice, but it's going like around, it's like sitting on a circle, and so it's a little tricky to do this one, but I'll walk you through it. Alright, so back to insert, text box in no man's land. Whoops, forgot caps lock. Whoop, and there we go, there's our sound. And I need to make sure I got the box clicked so I can make it lots bigger so that you guys can see it. Maybe even a little bigger. Alright, and I forget what font I used for this. Oh, it's another Hello font. So I'm going to go back up and we're going to go to our Hello fonts. I have so many fonts. And again, you can get these from Jen Jones, Hello Fonts. Go find her. She's awesome. Alright, so there's that. And now I want to make it a different color because the black just doesn't really do it for me. So I've got my box clicked, or again, you can highlight, and I want it to be orange. What color orange? I like that dark orange a whole lot. Alright, now what's interesting about this font is that when she made it, some of the letters are spaced a little funky. If you'll notice, there's space right here between the S and the O, and there's space between the O and the U, but when you get to the N and the D, there's really not a lot of space. And it just depends on the font that you use, how it ends up being laid out. But you can kind of control how it looks. Up here there's a little AV, and it's character spacing. So if you have a font like mine and it's kind of not exactly what you want it to be a little closer, all the letters, you can make it be tighter, or you can make it very tight. You can see how it just kind of scrunched all those letters together. You can also make it very loose. Oopsie. You can also make it very loose, and so that those letters, they're a little bit more even out. They're, very loose. So I'm going to leave it at normal. And now, looking at my original, it also has a purple outline and a shadow on it. So I'm going to click the box, or you can highlight. And in order to quickly add a shadow, instead of going to Format, you can actually go to this S right here and add a shadow. Pretty easy. But I'm going to go back to the Format anyway, because I need a text outline, and I want mine to be purple. Now again, I've got a very large word and a very, very small, thin outline. So I'm going to adjust the weight to be a bit thicker. And you could go overboard, and that it makes the letters look really blurry when it's that big, and you don't want to do that. So that one looks about okay. There you go. Now the fun thing is making this round out. So that's also in text effects. And we're going to go all the way down to transform. Now transform has a lot of different ways you can transform your text. So when I roll over it, on the follow path option, so a path is just like an invisible line. And so for this invisible line, it's following a circle. And it's the top part of the circle. This is the bottom part of the circle. And you can see my text kind of overlaps, which is fine. If I had a longer word, I could make it go all the way around in a circle. And if I still had a longer word, I could make it go all the way around in a circle and through the middle. Now there's a bunch of other text effects. Some of these, like this, you'll never use in a product because you can't read it. But it makes it a lot of fun, especially if you have an image that you'd like to kind of move your text around. These are really fun. And this one down here, I just see that as like a superhero flying off into space. So you can really use these and have fun with them. So this is the one that I used. I used the arch up. Now the cool thing, and the kind of weird thing, is that my text is no longer in my text box. And so if I click the text box, I can move it down. But as soon as I click in the text box, it should, there we go, when I click on the letters, it puts them back in the box so I can adjust them. So say I didn't like the way my outline looked, I could highlight them, and now I can adjust it and it goes back out. So, but I like mine. And so you can just see it. And then when I click outside the box, it goes back into how I had transformed it. So also up at the top, there's this little green handle which turns your text. So you can even turn these, even though it's following a path, you can still turn it around and manipulate it just like it's in a regular text box. This purple guy over here is very important. That's the path. That line, I can't unclick, but the line that it follows, that's the path that my text is going to follow. So wherever this little purple guy is, that's where your text is going to start. And then over here where it usually ends, that's where your text is going to follow that path. So if I wanted it not to be so round, I could bring that up. Uh-oh, I lost the D, so I've made it too far. There we go. So if I pull it back down, I can also make it a full circle, and my word's not long enough, so it's not going to go all the way around. But you can adjust it by just clicking and moving it. So there we go. But now what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring this out. This is why I'm using two different text boxes, is because now I can make the sound kind of go over the out and make it look really fancy. And by making them their own separate things, it makes it really easy to move them around on my canvas. So there you go. Now it's kind of in the right spot. But again, it's kind of hard once you have this transformed to manipulate it. So when I made my cover, the first thing I did was I moved the sound to where I wanted it, and then I kind of placed everything else based on where that was. Yeah, it's kind of funny, and you'll see as you play around with it that's a little different. So there you have it. We've made all of the different text effects that I've used in this cover. On the sound, we did add the shadow. So that's all of them. If you have any questions, you can email me, or you can write on my blog, or you can find me on Teachers Pay Teachers. Thanks, and have a great time.